This over here is the SK Hynix P51 Platinum. Probably an SSD that you don't see as often. The thing is, this earlier version, the P41, was one of the best Gen 4 drives that you could buy for a long time. Now they've released the P51, which is a Gen 5 NVMe SSD. And my question is, how good is it? And how does it actually compare to some of the other giants? Samsung 9100 Pro or the Crucial T705. Can it actually keep up with the top-end Gen 4 NVMEs? Well, I'm glad you asked, because that's exactly what I've done, and you're gonna know now. In terms of the overview and actual physical design, it's got the chips, controller, DRAM, everything on the top. There is nothing underneath. I've got the 1 terabyte model. There's also 2 and 4 terabyte. No, actually there isn't. There is 500 gigabytes and 2 terabyte model. As far as I know, there's no 4 or 8 terabyte models actually available. So bear that in mind. That's a little bit of a downside. Now, it does use DRAM cache, and I can't find the information really about that, but we assume it is 1 gigabyte per terabyte. So this one has 1 gigabyte of DDR5. There's a little sticker on the top and nothing underneath, just purely flat. So if we undo the sticker, what we can see then is that in the front, we've got our controller, which is the SK Hynix Alistar controller in there, DRAM cache in there, which is SK Hynix as well, and then our NAND chips in the back there. It's not necessary to take the sticker off to actually cool this. It's completely fine. So let's take a look at some of the benchmarks. Firstly, we're looking at sequential read and write speeds. And obviously, because it's a Gen 5 drive, it's really, really high. For read, we're getting 14,695 megabytes per second. And in terms of in the market, we're just right in the top there. It is within 2% of the fastest NVMe drives I've ever tested. Obviously, the Samsung 9100 Pro is slightly faster, 3 megabytes faster, which basically means exactly the same. Kingston Fury is a little bit faster, depending on the size of the model as well. When we're looking at the write speeds, we can see that, again, very high speeds, 13,394 megabytes per second, but it is roughly around 5% slower than the Kingston Fury Renegade G5, 2 and 4 terabytes. Obviously, 1 terabyte of Kingston Fury is actually lower, about a couple of hundred megabytes per second. So that shows that 1 terabyte model actually performs pretty well in here. So the Samsung, what I have here as well, is a 4 terabyte model, and we're basically equaling with the 4 terabyte model. So I assume that the 2 terabyte model will be right up there, slightly faster. But this is kind of just like a drag race performance that isn't real life. What we want to know is the quick system benchmark. This is a very fast SSD benchmark that tests the drive as a secondary drive. So you've got a drive that's operating system, but then you pop in another drive and then see how well does it do with light tasks. So we're not putting any heavy programs or any load on this, but just documents, photos, maybe a video file that you're playing back, some files that you're opening and closing, something like that, that happens on the secondary drive. Moving on to data benchmark, and here, this is where we test the drive as more of a data storage. So we're putting bigger files on it, a little bit of a different size of things, a little bit more heavier than the quick system drive benchmark. But here, we're right on top of the chart, as you can see. For Gen 5 drives, there's not many drives that are faster. The Crucial T705, Teamgroup Z540 are a little bit faster, but then at the same time, Kingston Fury Renegade is performing exactly the same as this SK Hynix P51. So I think very, very impressive performance. And if we're looking at the previous version, the Gen 4 drives, then you can see that there's a massive difference in terms of Gen 5 to Gen 4. We're talking about roughly 30% drive performance difference in there. But now, one of my favorite tests, which is the full system drive benchmark. This is how we are testing the drive as the operating system programs. So we're actively working on this. And this really shows which drives are the best because they need to read random little files all over the drive very, very fast. And the faster you can do it, the better it is for your operating system because your systems and programs are going to be more snappy. It can load things faster and so on. And here we're within 5% of the best drives ever kind of produced. Interestingly, we are slightly faster. We're talking about 2% faster than the Crucial T705 4 terabyte model, which is very, very impressive. Now, Samsung 9100 Pro is a little bit faster, but only slightly. But then we have the Kingston Fury Renegade, which is right on top of it, roughly around 5% faster. So it is very, very fast. Kingston performs a little bit better, Samsung a little bit better, and then Crucial a little bit worse. Obviously, if we compare to the Gen 4 drives, you can see they are quite a bit further down there, and we're getting a massive boost in the Gen 5 drive. So if you're looking for a fast operating system drive, it is a fantastic drive. But now the consistency test. This is where we test the drive an extended period of time. This test runs roughly around 20 hours. We're writing over 20 terabytes of files on it. It's absolutely ridiculous. We'll fill the drive multiple times as well. And this really shows how good is a drive in extended, sustained workloads where very, very heavy files are on it. Very important to mention here is if I take the same drive, then the larger capacity drives perform better than the lower capacity drives. And also DRAM drives often perform better than non-DRAM drives. So as we can see, the 4 terabyte Gen 5 drives, Fury, Kingston, Fury, Renegade, or Crucial are further up there, including Samsung, right up there. But then for the 1 terabyte drive, interestingly, this is the fastest Gen 5 1 terabyte drive that I have ever tested. You can see that the Samsung 990 Pro 1 terabyte is very, very close here with the Gen 4. So that's interesting. Unfortunately, I haven't got a Crucial nor Samsung 1 terabyte Gen 5 drives. So I'd love to see where these actually line up in there as well. But very impressively, the Kingston Fury Renegade is only a couple of % faster the 2 terabyte model. So this 1 terabyte model actually keeps up with the 2 terabyte model, which is actually very, very impressive. In here, I'm seeing that the SK Hynix performs very well, and I'm really impressed with the 1 terabyte performance. In terms of terabyte written specs, we have the standard on the market, 600 for 1 terabyte, 1200 for 2 terabytes. So nothing impressive there, 5 years warranty. So that's what you expect from a good drive in there. More interestingly, the SLC cache though, this 1 terabyte drive, I can't find the information online, but the 2 terabyte drive has roughly around 500 terabytes of SLC cache buffer, which is actually very, very good. And I can see that it's right up there with the Kingston KC3000, SN850X that are really high in that. So the sustained long periods of actual speed of this is very, very impressive. Now, all this being said, what do we say about the P51 Platinum? Is this actually worth considering compared to the Samsung Crucial, some of the other high-end Gen 5 drives out there? Yes and no. I highly recommend checking out the pricing in the video description below. I'm gonna leave all the drives that you've seen in this video and then multiple others in there. Just have a look at the current pricing. If the pricing is similar across with the Samsung and the Crucial and the SK Hynix, then I would say maybe consider the one that has the best performance. But because they perform so similarly, I would say this is definitely a drive worth considering. This is not a drive to take lightly. It performs right up there with Samsung and Crucial, especially in the consistent heavy loads. So for operating system or project drive, it's very, very good. For creators, I have a little bit of a downside here, which is I wish there was a 4 terabyte and 8 terabyte model so we can actually get larger capacities, which are much, much better in terms of having project drives with a lot on the market. For the 1 terabyte drive, I would say is perfect for your operating system if you don't need any larger than that. If you want to check it out, go check it out in the video description below. And if you do want to build yourself the best bang for buck, there's some links in the video description below completely for free. And if you want to reach out, I'll always get back to my messages in 24 hours. Links in the description below. Thanks for watching. God bless. Bye-bye.